This devlog, we're going to focus on a few of the features left for the places system. Now, if you were to look at something like this ancient ruin, you might think there's not too much code involved, but actually, there's a bunch of different systems that I've spent the past few weeks chiseling my way through. This week we're focusing on placement logic so they no longer spawn in the sea, improving my collision detection system so it knows what rectangles are for these rectangle houses, and also stop trees weirdly spawning where places are going to be. And also level editor improvements, because of course that thing needs some improvements. This is a game about exploration and discovery in a high fantasy world. It's written using my own game engine and is supposed to encapsulate the feeling of finding things in a large world down into a gameplay loop which can be played in short bursts. There's going to be lots of lore when a lot of these systems are actually in place, so stick around for that. And I started this week by dealing with a regression. What the f has happened? Why have you done that? Oh guys, I've already broken it. Don't worry too much though, my GitHub Docker build container was just missing a flag. Let's pretend that never happened. So if we have a quick look at one of these temples that I've put in, so you can see the sort of thing I'm going for. It's like not too big, not too complicated, and just a bunch of pieces with some sort of thing to find. Like some of this will be lore stuff and some of it will be just, you know, coins or whatever. So I'm calling it temple, it really should be called a ruin. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I also managed to get NPCs working in some of these places. I mean, it's not too complicated to do. You're essentially just spawning someone like you would a goblin. So, and this character doesn't actually say anything of note. Unless you're interested in rich text, which probably you're not. This frame rate is so appalling as well. I'm getting to the point now with frame rate where I'm thinking I'm just going to have to start fixing it. Because it's driving me mad. Why does it keep placing them on islands? I don't want it to be on islands. There must be some bug there. There must be. I mean, like, of all the land you could place it on, and you keep fucking placing it on islands. It must be. But the thing is that I have a wait and sort procedure. I think. Actually, this is true. That is a bug. It has more of a priority for smaller regions. So I'm just trying to update my collision system to be able to understand what a rectangle is, because the problem is that currently everything is just a circle, which means that in the case of things like the houses, which are not circles, then it doesn't really work. So what I'd like to be able to do is say things like, is this a circle or is this a rectangle? Which would be good. And then my actual collision logic was written by your boy, and it also told me that my circle collision wasn't as optimum as it could be because I'm using a square root, so that's nice. So this is my demo thing. I just need to be able to actually add a square now. So if you've got a rec and you've got another rec, in classic Other Mythos fashion, this took longer to sort out than I hoped it would, but eventually it worked. Well, it looks like it's figured out. If you look at that, yeah, lovely and precise. And for stuff like this as well, that looks fine, that looks fine. The problem ended up being that I needed to offset by the radius because the visualization was wrong. Because you want this to be like the very center of where the cursor is, right? Whew. Do you know, collision detection is a nightmare. It really is horrible. It's one of these things that even when you got like a nice AI thing to write your actual algorithm for you, still, it comes back to haunt me. I've actually found this really good website that talks about a lot of this stuff. One of the other things that gets mentioned is matrix transformations, so collision like that, for example. Remember that in my demo I had one house that was a little bit like that, so I'm going to have to be able to accommodate for that in the actual game. So, you know, really a matrix transformation is probably going to be the only solution. Good morning, friends. Right, today I'm working a bit on trying to get rid of trees when I do certain placed items. I've got this cool, well, you can't actually see it. So I've managed to resurrect my Raspberry Pi to-do list thing that I built quite a while ago. It's just a like e-ink display with a Pi Zero attached to it, but it's quite cool and it tells me what I want to do today. It also has a word of the day down the bottom. Gallant. Anyway, so yeah, to do today, remove trees from spawn places, implement collidable squares. I've kind of already done that. Pop up certain towns and data logic for placing characters. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to doing that. Anyway, so this is what the game looks like at the moment. I'm kind of trying to, I'm dealing with getting rid of the trees at the moment. So actually I think it is working. It's just that it's off center of where it needs to be. So like in a case like this, I think there should have been trees here and it's just got rid of them. Because remember, the origin of this place is probably like here. And it probably just got a bit confused. I mean, there's a few things wrong with it. Like, first of all, that well should have been raised up a bit. So clearly that Z positioning isn't working, so I have to figure that one out. Okay, actually, I'm not sure it is working. Oh, that's embarrassing. My WorldGen code produces a list of where to place the trees, and I wanted a way to go through for each voxel in a rectangle and just remove them. But iterating that list for each voxel would have been slow and there would have been thousands of trees. So instead, I created an array for each voxel on the map and pushed the tree ID if there was one at that voxel. Then the check became nice and quick, but it did cost me more memory. But if Chrome can take 300 megabytes to store a single tab, then I can take 720 kilobytes to store this data. Ah, that's why. It's not the total width. That's something else. Oh, no. Yeah, look, it's been properly cleared out. I'm improving my debug capabilities. So these boxes are meant to be wrapping around it, which they're not really. And also in the case of this one, I don't know what's going on here. That's way too big. That's what half extends. Yeah, come on, there's no way that's true. The way I was actually deciding where to remove the trees was by calculating the bounding box for all the models when I exported the scene. Unfortunately though, this was broken. Eventually I found out this could be fixed by always taking the model's bounding box in world space, which cost me some time. It was in local coordinates rather than world coordinates. But then that would mean that like basically everything I've done all of today has been wrong. And that would explain why it didn't work, because it was like always off slightly. And in the case of that, like it was sort of there, but it also wasn't. This is the thing, like you can spend all day getting something to work, but you know, once it works, and blah, 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 blah. As long as you make sure you use it, it's not wasted time. Yeah, there we go. That looks a lot better. F***ing hell. And I knew it should have been straightforward. It shouldn't have been as complicated as what the other one was. Lovely. Oh, look at this. This is nice. So it should be a lot easier to enact some of the logic now about removing all the stuff. I basically need to determine if any of these trees are within this box and get rid. Okay, that looks a lot better. That doesn't look better though. Why aren't they being removed? Oh, I know why. I do know why actually. Oh, I've still got my debug code in place, haven't I? Oh, it only tries to move it if it's Garrison. Oh dear. You can tell it's late in the day, can't you? Okay, no trees in that box. No trees in that box. Right. We finally got somewhere. Why am I spinning? Okay, we might have finally got somewhere. The thing is that I can see it's on the green bit, so that implies that yes, they are actually being removed. Yeah. I mean, look at that. You can see that that's working. But yeah, I mean, look, this is fantastic. Unfortunately, I didn't get everything on the magical to-do list finished. I ended up going out for like a Valentine's Day thing and drank lots of mysterious fluids. So my plans got derailed a little bit. Next week, I want to just keep improving my tools and also, ideally, produce a bunch of content. So subscribe for more mysterious fluids. And if you happen to have a deep-seated urge to know how I'm improving villages, then, well, that would actually be a really weird coincidence because I happen to have the perfect video for you right here.